And here we go. For those of you who are emotional eaters, you might be an emotional eater. You might not be an emotional eater. Either way, we're going to talk about what causes us to eat and what is eating us. And we are going to fasten our seatbelts because we're going to learn and grow together. How much time do we have? 30 seconds? I don't know.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
Oh, I knew it. Time to dance, Tricia.
Bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live in love when life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be. I'll be right here. Right here, and when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for you.
Here we go.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful best day ever. And for those of you who are new to the Lillian McDermott radio show, the purpose of the show is to provide a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening friend, and my viewing friends will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, today, we're going to be talking about something I don't think we've ever talked about: food addictions or the desire to eat and why we eat, and in a way that comes from a place of knowing from our guest, the author of Heal Your Hunger. So today, just get ready. I've warned you many times. My phone number is 407-373-5959. We're giving away a book. It's really a great book. I got to spend some time playing with it last night. I even took a test to see if I was an emotional eater. And so I'll give you the results of that. But 407-373-5959 will be the 10th caller will win this book. You can call, leave a message. I do not answer the phone while I'm doing the show, but I will respond afterwards, or you can text me 407-373-5959. So I'm going to encourage you to take out your soul shovels and dig till there's only truth. So what is your food connection? What causes you to eat? Do you eat when you're happy? Do you eat when you're sad? Do you eat just because you're bored? So today we have the author of Heal Your Hunger, Tricia Nelson. And listen to this. See if you can relate. She used food to numb her pain, escape from fear, and inflict self-punishment. Sit with that for a while. Sit with that for a while. Until she dug deep. She took out her soul shovel. And she dug until she got to the root cause of her emotional eating. And so now she has this book called Heal Your Hunger. 7 steps to end emotional eating now. So 407-373-5959, 10th caller to leave a message or text her, and you will win this book. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that Tricia Nelson is here to do just that. Welcome, Tricia, to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show.
Thank you so much. I am psyched to be here.
Well, not only that, you're getting up really early to be on the show, 5 o'clock in the morning for California time.
Yes.
So share a little bit about your background and what led you to your passion.
Yeah, so it's great to be here. I started my journey way back when I was a kid, and really a small kid. I mean, as far back as I can remember, I was like totally obsessed with food. Like I loved to cook it. I loved to serve it. I loved to eat it, of course. Food was a really big deal for me. And I would, you know, if my family was going out to dinner, I'd have a heart palpitations because I'd be so excited. So I think it's a big deal. So yeah. And then as I got older, I started to gain weight, and I had this roll on my tummy that I'd scrunch up and I'd want to cut off, like you cut off fat off the side of a steak.
Yeah.
And I imagined getting a disease where I'd automatically lose weight and wouldn't have to try, or joining the army where I'd be forced to exercise at boot camp because I hated to exercise. So, you know, some pretty crazy thoughts around my body and how to like really control my weight. And, you know, not eating as much wasn't really in the equation. Like I needed the food that I ate, and I loved food. But I really hated being fat, Lillian. It was so painful for me. And so I tried lots of different things. I tried pills and potions and lotions and, you know, self-help books and 12-step programs and eating disorders therapy. I mean, I really went for it.
Yeah.
I was really looking for a solution. And frankly, nothing I tried worked for me for any length of time. I mean, sometimes I'd lose the weight, but I'd always put it back on. And
Yes.
really painful. And, you know, I thought to myself, I'm going to basically be consigned to this life for the rest of my life. Like up, you know, I was a yo-yoer. So I'd go up 20, down 10, up 30, down, you know, 20. I mean, I was all over the place. And I had like several different sizes of pants in my closet because I never knew what size I'd be. And I even got in high school, it got so bad that I wouldn't wash my pants because I knew if I washed them, they'd shrink a little. And then that was it.
You have this down to a science, woman.
Oh my God. It was so gross. I mean, I washed them once in a while, but it was pretty gross. So
Yeah.
anyway, this is how it went for me. And I felt very hopeless. I'm like, I can't do this for the next 80 years of my life. And so what happened is that I was introduced to a man who is a spiritual healer type, and he specialized in helping people with addictions, and he helped me with my food addiction. It was amazing.
Okay. And that's what we're going to talk about. 10th caller or texter 407-373-5959. Are you an emotional leader? Let's find out. When we return worldwide with Tricia Nelson, we'll be right here waiting for you at whenyouneedafriend.com. I hope I made it. Did you? Whoop, I'm going like this. Oh.
I get it. I get to tune in. Sorry. Gonna wake up here.
Didn't I tell you?
You totally told me, but you get me going.
No, I told you that it's like having a conversation. We're just having a conversation between two friends. And that's what I wanted to create when I first started the show. I don't know about you, Tricia, but when I was growing up, unless I shared the same opinion as the people that were older than me, I was wrong.
Oh,
and so when I started the show, I wanted all of us to be able to have a conversation without feeling wronged.
Yeah.
And so that was my vision, is to have like this roundtable discussion by the table where everybody could share their beliefs, and I am okay with your beliefs and you're okay with my beliefs. And so I hope my goal is for all of us, even the people that are watching, to say, you know what, I do relate to that, or I don't. And if they want to write, I don't agree with you, that's fine too. I thank them for their opinion. It doesn't matter to me.
That's beautiful. Love it.
So with you, I saw pictures of you in your book when you were a little girl, and it just never shed. It never shed. So are you okay with sharing the real reason and the root cause? That's what we're going to go and do next. Is to go dive deep and get people to relate to digging deeper. Now, Brian, can you keep me honest and let me know how much time we have left before we go back into the radio? That's 32. I have like this internal clock that like counts like 30 seconds at a time. It's like, I know, in 30 seconds.
That's awesome. It's so interesting.
Well, it just happens that way. I don't know why, but I'm excited to hear your story. I'm excited to share your story, your book, the book. You want to hold the book up?
Yes.
Yes. Go ahead before we get started. It's Heal Your Hunger. Look how beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Yep. 7 simple steps to end emotional eating now.
And here we go. Time to dance. Time to wake up, Tricia.
Count on me.
You look really good for 5 o'clock in the morning.
Thank you.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn and grow with one another. Today's teacher is Tricia Nelson. This is like a special edition of Thriving Thursday. So today we are talking about emotional eating. Is it emotional eating? Is it food addiction? Or are you just hungry? Maybe you're not getting enough nutrients in your body. Tricia Nelson experienced obesity her whole entire life. Well, up to a certain point. And it's 50 pounds for you, right, Tricia?
That's right. Yeah, I lost 50 pounds with the grace of God.
Well, I do know that God is in us, and God cannot do anything without your help, without us helping ourselves, right?
No, I had to do some work.
Yes, you got to do some work. Even the paralytic man by the pool, God, Jesus asks, do you want to be healed? First of all, he could have healed anybody, right?
Yeah.
But you have to be willing to heal. The second question is, the next thing was, then if you want to be healed, then pick up your mat and walk and go into that. That man had been on the sidelines waiting for like 30 some years. And Jesus could have levitated him, taken him to, done whatever. But we have got to do the work. We've got to take our soul shovels out. I'm hoping that today will encourage you, my listeners, my viewers, to say, why? Why am I? And it's not about being skinny. It's about being healthy. Releasing the weight is a byproduct. It's a side effect. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So what would you like to add?
I just want to comment on the whole, the idea of, God healing me. And the reason why I say by the grace of God is because I tried for so long to lose weight and couldn't keep it off. Okay. So I could lose for a time and then I'd put it back on. Mm-hmm. And what I had to come to is a place to realize that I don't have any willpower. Like I have no power whatsoever. So my journey, and when I, speak of the person who helped me, was really about coming to accept that, and then dealing with the stuff that's blocking me from spirit and from this, flow that I was blocked off from, because I had all these different emotions that I had packed down with food. So that was really my journey. Is this person who helped me shared with me that my problem had nothing to do with food, that it had everything to do with the emotions that were blocked inside of me. And so that's really where things began to turn around for me.
Yes. And let's get to that point, because first of all, for those of you who would like a copy of this book, we're giving one book away. 10th caller or texter, Heal Your Hunger. 10th caller or texter, call, leave a message. I don't answer the phone. 407-373-5959. Text just Heal Your Hunger, and then I'll get back to you at the end of the show. Okay, so Tricia, this is your journey. This is your personal journey, but you know what? A lot of people will resonate. A lot of people will hear your story.
Totally.
So let's talk about that emotion. Let's take out our soul shovels. How many soul shovels did you go through before you got to the root cause?
Well, it was so comforting for me to learn. I mean, I kind of knew it in my soul that my problem wasn't food, that it goes much deeper. But so much of the time, all the solutions out there are talking about the symptom. Mm-hmm. They're talking about losing weight. They're talking about controlling food. They're talking about diets. They're talking about calories, metabolism, exercise. All these things have their place. But if you're a real emotional eater, you can't follow that stuff. Like to be honest, emotional eaters, we try many different things, mm-hmm. and we've been around the block many times, but no matter how much we know intellectually, it doesn't translate into what we are able to do. And that's why it's so important to look beyond the symptom and deal with the underlying causes, because that's what's stopping us from being able to follow through on the good advice and knowledge that we have.
Absolutely. We hear it everywhere. And for those of you who would like to find out if you're an emotional eater, last night I went on to healyourhunger.com. There is a little square that comes up that says, take a test. So you can take a test. I think there were like 20 or so questions. I actually looked at them, about 20 questions. So it's really quickly, and it tells you whether or not you are, where you fall. Fortunately for me, and I think if I would have taken this test, Tricia, to be honest with you, if I would have taken this test in my 20s, I would say that I would have some issues with food.
Sure.
I'm just being honest. I'm being honest here. My score was 23, which says that maybe not an emotional eater, but I believe that there was a time that I was. And I think that digging and digging until I got to the root cause of why I felt unhappy about my body, obsessed sometimes, I would say, use the word,
Sure.
was because of how I had not dealt with some things that I've dealt with from at this point, but I keep dealing with, because you find a new truth, a deeper meaning. But go ahead and share your story.
Yeah, well, I just want to mention that quiz. If people take that, they will get, like Lillian did, a personalized score, which tells you where you are on the spectrum. And emotional eating is, the quiz is meant to determine whether you're an emotional eater or a food addict. But I really believe, Lillian, that most people are emotional eaters to some degree.
Yeah.
I think that we're made that way so that we have an emotional attachment to food, so that we like to eat, so we'll subsist. Okay. So just bottom line, I think we all have a little bit of emotional eater in us.
Yeah.
But it depends on where people take it, like how far they take it. And so if somebody takes that quiz, they can see where they are on the spectrum of emotional eating. And on the high end of the spectrum is food addiction. And so, and I totally qualify as a food addict. And what does that mean? Well, that means in my worst times of overeating, I would take it so far as to binge on 4,000 calories, to feel totally disgusting. I couldn't vomit. I wanted to be bulimic. I couldn't do it. So praise, thank God for that. that takes on a whole life of its own. But the thing is that I took it all the way. So I had very negative consequences. Now, I didn't lose a job over my eating, but some people do. Some people are so, despondent and so inside their heads because they're destroying themselves with food that it affects their job. It affects their relationships. It affects their earning potential. Their self-esteem drops to a point where they don't make much money because they don't feel worthy of more money. I mean, it has such far-reaching effects. And so it's not just about how much you eat, or the kinds of foods you eat. I have a lot of people say, hey, I'm not a binger, so I'm not an emotional eater. You can still be an emotional eater even if you don't binge. So if somebody takes that quiz, they're going to get a score, and they'll know exactly where they are on that spectrum and then what to do about it.
Yeah. Even though my score was that, it still asks me, there's a reason why you're taking this test. I almost read back because you're going to be on my show tomorrow. But there is, sometimes we can be in denial. We can be in absolute denial. So you have different statistics in your book about eating and the percentage of eating. So, and overweight and obese. So go ahead and share some of those statistics if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, 1 in 3 people in our country will be obese in our, that's what we're looking at. And the numbers are going up. I mean, it's really scary.
Yeah.
And I really believe this is on account of emotional eating. Everybody's trying to figure it out. This whole weight loss conundrum, everybody's trying to figure out how to get our society thinner, but nobody's talking about emotional eating. And to me, this is why 98% of all diets fail, because people, again, they know what to do. I mean, we're not stupid, right? Like, we know what makes us fat. We know what doesn't make us fat, but that doesn't translate in our experience because we have to have the food. We have an emotional dependence. We're habitually turning to food for reasons beyond nutrition, beyond sustenance.
Okay. So for those of you, the 10th caller or texter, 407-373-5959, will get a free copy of the book, Heal Your Hunger. Now, let's go deeper. Okay, let's dig deeper. For you, what did it for you? What made you say, never again? I figured this out. This is why I abused my body.
Yeah. Well, when I finally got help to deal with the underlying causes, I mean, I was searching, and I basically at a very young age just decided I'm not going up and down the scale for the rest of my life. And I was willing to do that deeper work, but I wouldn't have done it if I hadn't had somebody to show me how to do it. And that's what's so important is nobody can do this journey, take this journey alone, you know, and you can't, you know, you've got to get help from an emotional eater in order to overcome emotional eating, because it's too weird to be powerless over a cookie.
Yeah.
You have to know, you have to be able to relate, you know, and so it's really important that you don't try to do this journey alone. And I didn't have to, and I got support, but that inner journey is not easy, you know, and so what I identified are 3 primary emotions that drive emotional eating. And this is important for people to know because it's a quick little thing you can do. I call it the PEP test.
Yes.
And the P stands for painkiller. So we use food and other addictions as well, but the primary reason is to cover up pain. Like when we have pain, either from our current situation because, you know, we hate our job, or we have a you know, a mean mother-in-law, or, you know, whatever it is, when there's pain in our life, we try to anesthetize that pain with excess food and with the ooey gooey chewy foods. That's why we want to eat a brownie instead of a salad, right? The E in the PEP test stands for escape. So we also, emotional eaters have a lot of fear. And so we're trying to escape the fear and just the sense of overwhelm in our lives. And the third letter in the PEP test is P, and that stands for punishment. And people don't think of this so much because we think of food as a reward, right? Like I'm going to get my favorite goodies, sit in front of my favorite TV show, and have a good time. But when you think about it, if you let it, oftentimes that little good time turns into a messy binge. And when you think about the next day, when you feel bloated and fat and you don't want to, you know, you cancel your appointments with friends, you have zits on your face, that is not fun. And that is punishment we're meeting on ourselves. And that is really on account of guilt. And emotional eaters are very sensitive, and we have a lot of guilt. So this is the pain, the fear, and the guilt are the 3 emotional drivers that are underlying the food compulsion. And so if people can just do that little test to see, you know, do that little PEP test when you have those cravings, that's a good place to start.
Okay. So for you, you had pain, you had fear, and you had guilt. What was the overline? Oh, you know, the cloud over you at all times. What would you say if you can use, you know, what was your pain? What was your fear? And what was your guilt?
Yeah, well, it's so many things, but it does start young. And a lot of emotional eaters have trauma in their past. I was sexually abused as a child, you know, from a relative. That certainly was something I was burying. Fear is like probably the biggest emotion that everybody feels, especially emotional eaters. That fear turns into anxiety and drives people's unconscious eating, and it certainly did me. And then guilt is I just was a super sensitive soul. And this is true for emotional eaters. We're softies. We're very sensitive. We wear our heart on our sleeves. And so I just felt prone to guilt all the time. You know, some things will roll up somebody else's back, not on mine. And so that really was a big thing for me.
Yeah. And, you know, it's interesting that you would say that they've done studies that 85% of morbidly obese people have been sexually violated one way or another. And so we need to be that, we want to ignore that, but the body won't let you forget what the mind wants to neglect. And so we're going to continue our conversation. 10th caller or texter, 407-373-5959. Heal Your Hunger. Show your book, Heal Your Hunger. And continue the conversation. Yes. And we're going to continue our conversation when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Well, hello, Dale.
Hello, indeed.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
We're excited. So,
hello.
Dale, this is Tricia Nelson, and we're talking about we're talking about healing our hunger.
Oh my. That's a spectacular topic. I love that one.
Yep. Yeah, I know. It's really good. So I'm excited because we have Del Billis, the executive director of Liberty Health Share. He's going to be joining us at the 10-15 minutes before the end of the show. And we're going to continue the conversation about healing your hunger. And now that you've got your water, Tricia, It's interesting when I learned that 85% of men and women, morbidly obese men and women, have been sexually violated, inappropriately touched. Why is it? I don't understand why we internalize being a victim into having our shame and guilt attached to it. Did you have to do a lot of work with that, Tricia?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, that's just a life altering experience, you know, and so much shame. I mean, so much shame and feeling like this is, you know, my fault, and then having conflicting feelings, like I hate it, but I kind of like it. And it's like a lot of deep, heavy emotions that are way too much for a small child to be able to metabolize, if you will. I mean, it's so overwhelming. And that's why food is such an amazing thing. I mean, food saved my life. I mean, being able to overeat and put on weight and feel like I had some protection, that saved my life. It just, you know, it overstayed its welcome, you know, so I needed to change my ways. But at the time, I mean, I'm grateful I had it.
Very good. I would love for you to take everything you said and say it on the air, because that was beautifully said. And I think many of us we need to get to that. I would love for you to get through the 7 steps.
Okay.
Like in probably 4 minutes.
Okay.
Because 4 or 5 minutes. So because I want to be able to go through the steps.
You can count on.
It's time to dance, Dale. Now we can see you. There we go.
My kids are embarrassed by my dancing.
Oh, no.
373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
And welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn and grow with one another. Today, we are learning from Tricia Nelson. She's our teacher. We're bringing Dale Billis, the executive director of Liberty Health Share, later on the show to help us continue the conversation, because weight is not just weight. It's about becoming healthy. And when you become healthy, mind, body, spirit, the side effect is weight loss. You release the weight. You don't have to even try to lose the weight, because what happens when you lose something? You try to find it. And so today we're talking about releasing it. So it goes away because you have been able to deal with whatever is holding you captive. It is amazing. As we went on the break, and for those of you, please go to whenyounneedafriend.com, become a subscriber. While you're there, check out, I've got a new Lily's Kitchen and everything. People are asking me, what do I use in my kitchen? You can just click and buy. That's what you can do now. But I want you to make sure that you go to my sponsors page, because without my sponsors, this show would not happen. So go to whenyounneedafriend.com, become a subscriber, like me on social media, subscribe to my podcast, my YouTube channel, so that you can get on and off the air conversations. But check out my sponsors, support them the way they're supporting the Lillian McDermott Radio Show. Call, text 407-373-5959. The book is called Heal Your Hunger. Tricia, when we were off the air, you said something so profound. I hope you can say it word for word. It's recorded. It's recorded for you on YouTube, but for my radio people, for my listening friends, can you share a little bit? We were talking about your weight and how your weight saved you, and what the confliction that you had with your abuse.
Absolutely. You know, having sexual abuse is obviously a life-altering experience. And the reason why people have this experience often put on so much weight is because it feels like a protection. You know, like when we gain weight, it's like, the subconscious idea is that we're going to protect ourselves from other people, like nobody can hurt us. And it's because we're so vulnerable at a young age and can't say no, and can't even figure out what's happening to us. But it's really such a scarring experience, because you are so young. First of all, typically people are abused long before they're even acknowledging their sexuality, right? So they're just like, I was sexual at 5 years old, way before I even knew what that meant, you know? And so, and so there's all these conflicting feelings, and it feels bad, but it kind of feels good, you know? So you don't know what to do with that.
It's called seduction and manipulation. And then you bear the shame.
Yeah. And so I thought, you know, I caused it. I thought it's messy, it's emotional, and it's secretive. So you have nobody to talk to about it, you know? And so all that together in one body, one little sweet soul, right? And you don't know what to do with it. And so you have to cover it up. And food is, you know, as a kid, one of the, you know, it's not like we're going to go shoot heroin at 5 years old. So hopefully. And so that's what I started to do, is eating was my comfort. That was there for me. That did cover up the pain. That did help me escape the fear. And that did help me punish myself for the guilt that I felt, thinking it was my fault. And so it's such a conflicting experience. But I will say, as I said before, you know, thank God I had food. I mean, thank God I had food to cover up. I mean, I really feel like food saved my life, excess food. You know, and I had it, it served me at the time to deal with stuff I was not equipped to deal with. It just overstayed its welcome. And I needed to start, you know, as a adult, that coping tool was no longer useful to me. It was pure self-destruction, and I needed to find a better way to live.
Very, very well put. I hope that all of you, my listening friends, drive men, women, children, anyone who's listening to Tricia's voice right now or watching her on YouTube, that you will say, you know what, this is my story too. And if Tricia could do this, so can I. So you've created the 7 steps, simple steps to end emotional eating now. So let's talk about the first step is.
Well, the first step is really connection and community. You know, emotional eaters feel so alone. They feel like they're the only ones who do the crazy things that they do. I mean, I've eaten out of the garbage. I've had a binge, couldn't take it anymore, threw the rest of the food out, and two hours later, after I passed out and woke up again and had more room in my tummy, gone back to the garbage to eat the food. So here we are. I've done awful, shameful things around food. And I think I'm the only one. When you get with a community of emotional eaters, and we have a Heal Your Hunger community, when you get with these people, you are no longer alone. You realize that you're not the only one who's done these things, and it's incredibly healing. And then to go through the healing journey, that support is vital, because it's too hard otherwise.
Okay. So let's go through, let's just name them real quick, and then off the air, we can go deeper.
Connection and community. The second one is centeredness. So you can start tapping into what's inside of you. The third one is clean eating, because we got to talk about eating in a way that is nurturing and that can help you access your emotions. It's not a diet. It's a way of helping you get more in touch with your emotions. Communication, a huge issue for emotional eaters, because we typically eat our feelings, right? We don't speak up. And so I go through a whole process of helping people start speaking up with confidence. Consciousness. It's really important that we wake up to our spiritual selves, and that we realize that we're not, you know, isolated islands in this world, but we're part of a greater whole. And that raising of our consciousness helps alleviate the fear that drives our overeating. The next one is causes, because obviously, as we've been talking about, there are deeper underlying causes. Sure. I have an acronym called SOURCE, which is really 6 different causes, like deeper causes of emotional eating. And so in my programs, I go through that and help people face those causes. Okay. And the last one is courage, because it takes courage to do these steps, you know, and we need help and we need courage in order to do these things.
The 7 C's, the 7 C's.
That's it. They all start with C. The 7 C's to healing.
Very good. Thank you so much, Tricia. We're going to continue. We're going to add Del Billis. He's the executive director of Liberty Health Share that promotes healthy living as well. And so thank you, Dale, for not only coming on the Lillian McDermott radio show, but also being a proud sponsor of the Lillian McDermott radio show. So thank you so much for joining us today.
It is an honor to be here, and I just enjoy entering into this discussion and have a few reflections to make about it as well.
Go ahead, share. Because I want to hear, I would love to hear what Liberty Health Share and Del Billis have to say about this?
Well, relative to overweight and obesity, obviously that is one of the primary indicators
Yes.
of health and future wellness and well-being. And so we welcome those to join us in our healthcare sharing ministry who are struggling in this area and need weight loss assistance and support because I recognize, and it certainly was true of my life, I can tell you my story here momentarily, but I recognize in my own life wholesome, welcome, positive accountability is one of the most important elements of lifestyle change. And I liked what Tricia said, and you said a moment ago, it's not about diets.
Yes.
It's about really focusing on the totality of my personhood and addressing the issues having to do with the manner in which I live my life.
Yes.
That's the key. I had a weight issue for many, many years as an adult, and as a male. It was just for me particularly. It was, and no one ever graciously or kindly or cooperatively approached me about how that would impact and affect my health. But about 6 years ago, I recognized, especially in the launch of Liberty Health Share, that weight and obesity is an issue that is complex, needs support and assistance in achieving those goals. And I began my own personal journey at that point to lose weight. I was a smoker at the time as well. I smoked 8 to 10 cigars every day.
Shocked to hear this.
And I honestly, and I'm a type 2 diabetic. I looked myself in the mirror. I literally, Lillian, had a man in the mirror moment. I literally looked at myself in the mirror and said, you are the one that must make the change. No one's going to do it for you. No one, you must make the change. Either you make the change, or 5, 10 years from now, you lose your sight, your eyesight, you lose a limb to diabetic impact of that disease. Whatever the case may be, that you have to make the change. I threw my cigars away that day, started the process of weight loss. I lost 50 pounds. My diabetic readings came down to pre-diabetic status.
Wow.
And it impacted and changed my life.
Okay, so more testimonials here. We're going to continue our conversation. Liberty Health Share is what I use for my health care. And we're going to continue our conversation with Liberty Health Share, Dale Billis and Tricia Nelson. And call 407-373-5959 to get your free copy of Heal Your Hunger. And we'll be right back. Okay, so Dale, great sharing, by the way. Dale, you just blew me away with your story. I would have never, and knowing about you and what you've created with Liberty Health Share, that you would ever have a weight problem or that you were a smoker.
Right. I was indeed.
So how were you able to do it? Just, you said you made that decision?
Well, I just had that kind of come to an awareness meeting with myself, just realizing that I was not capable, number one, of accomplishing these goals on my own. I had to reach out and receive help and support, and I had to do it for purposes of my health. That's what struck me, is that it was an awareness that this was a health and wellness issue. Yeah. And so I began down the path of just changing my total lifestyle.
You know, it makes sense to me now why you're so passionate about what you're doing, because you're the epitome. I mean, I knew that Liberty Health Share was special. I joined Liberty Health Share for 2 years now, and I'm going on my 3rd year, and absolutely love the change. Okay, time to dance. Here we go. This is our
I'll be right here waiting for you.
Okay, here we go.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn from one another. Today's teachers are Tricia Nelson. She is the author of Heal Your Hunger. And these are 7 steps, 7 simple steps to figure out to end your emotional eating now. You can call, be the 10th caller or texter. Make sure when you call, you leave a message. I don't answer during the show. 407-373-5959, and you will get your own copy of Heal Your Hunger. And joining us is my sponsor and someone I have grown to admire even more today, listening to him open up and share his story, which I don't think I've ever asked you to do that, Dale. And so thank you so much. Liberty Health Share, he's the executive director, Dale Bellis, and Dale is the executive director of where I don't do insurance anymore. I stopped that. I stopped the manipulation of the government, telling me where I can go, what I can do, and now I choose my freedom through selecting Liberty Health Share at 855-58-LIBERTY. That's 855-585-4237. It is so inexpensive, and you're protected by the people in your community, the people in your tribe. That's libertyhealthshare.org. Dale, so I now know why Liberty Health Share does everything to help us get healthy. Talk a little bit about Health Track and the weight loss program for Liberty Health Share.
It really does grow out of that experience, Lillian, of lifestyle change and transformation for me. Realizing that the pathway to health and wellness is really through a support community. I couldn't do it on my own. And so we launched Health Track to assist incoming members with conditions that were subject or responsive to lifestyle changes. High blood pressure, heart disease, certainly type 2 diabetes, obesity, smoking. We accept smokers, but they've got to commit to quit. Cholesterol. We assign them a health coach, and that health coach comes alongside to encourage, provide positive support and accountability, helps them set each member in Health Track sets their customized treatment plan and goals and works toward achieving that. Now that costs an additional $80 per month. But that's basically a pass-through to the health coach. Mm-hmm. We recognize that there are multi-layered causes for these conditions and the difficulties that present itself in lifestyle change. Tricia's comments make me aware of how easy it is frequently to stand in judgment, particularly over those that are obese. As if it's just a matter of willpower. What's wrong with you that you would be obese? And we just need to live in compassion and care and support with one another, understanding there are multiple motivators and causes for those particularly weight issue. But I'm proud to tell you that we have 90 registered dietitians who also take on that support and counseling role, assisting our members to find additional support if they need it, but particularly in the area of weight loss. I've got to tell you, we had 1,600 of our members joining us for purposes of weight loss last year, and from being a part of Health Track. They all graduated in the course of 2017 from our Health Track program. We send up digital balloons for them every month in our newsletter. But as a group, they lost over 32,000 pounds together.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Since the inception of the program, those who've joined us have lost over 100,000 pounds together.
Wow.
So we're really changing people's lives, and it's thrilling to see the fact that we are here to provide care, support, and encouragement to help them achieve goals that they've already and have they've expressed that that's what they want to accomplish. They just simply need the support system, positive care, and accountability to reach those goals.
Absolutely. And what I love about Liberty Health Share is that community of support, not only that, but you promote healthy healthcare. You promote healthcare, not sick care. And we get rewarded. I've gotten so many calls from your customer service just checking up on me, making sure I'm okay, making sure after the hurricane they called me, are you okay? We haven't gotten we noticed that you haven't gone to the doctor in a while. Are you okay? Is everything okay? Do you have any questions for us? And I'm like, who are you? What are you? Liberty Health Share is not insurance. I will tell you they're not insurance, but I feel safer and more secure with Liberty Health Share than I've ever. And the price is so affordable. We have opted out of insurance, even when my husband had insurance with his company, and he was getting it for a nominal amount, and adding me was going to be like $500. I think I paid like $150. What are the prices, Dale, for a single, a couple, or a two, and a family?
Yeah, our most popular program, we call it Liberty Complete. It's $199 for a single, $299 for a couple, $449 for a family of three or more. We don't count more than three. That amount of money goes into our online account. We call it a share box, that through our proprietary online software is then matched to another person who has medical bills that month. So your dollars are going literally to another living, breathing person who has bills. We message one another with cheer, encouragement, or prayer, whatever the case may be. We send the check directly out of the receiving member's account. And then should ever I have medical bills, that community of members are there to pay my bills as well.
Absolutely. So Liberty Health Share, for those of you who want to learn more and consider making the change and making the shift and empowering yourself and choosing to be free from being told where to go, because I was paying all that money for my insurance and having to go to the regular doctor and paying a copay, paying all this stuff, and then the bottom line was I was going to my alternative healthy doctors that were promoting me, and so I was paying out of pocket for everything. But Liberty Health Share, they actually encouraged me to go to holistic alternative ways to heal, because ultimately it's what creates that health in me, that radiance, that vibrance. And so I really am grateful for that portion. So now what I invest and where I go, I get covered by Liberty Health Share.
Well, that's really what our objective and goal is to empower and enable the individual to be in charge of and manage the control of their health. That's really the most fundamental question that frequently gets overlooked in the national discussion regarding healthcare, and it forms one of our fundamental beliefs as a community, that we have the God-given right to manage, direct, and control the care of our health.
Absolutely. And it's Liberty Health Share. That's 855-58-LIBERTY. That's 855-585-4237. Or you can check them out on site online at libertyhealthshare.org. I'm so grateful, Dale, once again for the information that you always bring on the show. Tricia, I know you wanted to add something to what Dale was saying.
I just loved his comment about not judging fat people because, and because this is something where we don't have willpower over, and it's deeper stuff. And when we're sold a bill of goods that it's just about diet, then that's hard for people who have all that emotional stuff going on and they're actual emotional eaters. So I just loved his comment about that. I wanted to say amen.
Well, thank you for adding to that discussion, because it's not just not lifestyle change, it's emotional healing along with that transformation. And that's what thrills me so much about your message, Tricia. God bless you.
Thank you.
And I'm
Yeah.
just grateful for the two of you. I wish we had longer. Well, we actually were going to continue this conversation later. We're going to record some of the things that we weren't able to talk about on the air. So I want to encourage you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com and check out my YouTube video. But for now, 10th caller or texter gets the book, 407-373-5959. Tricia Nelson, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thanks
and
for
Dale
having me.
Bellis, as always, I'm so grateful. Thank you for being a sponsor of the Lillian McDermott Radio Show.
It's my honor. Thank you for the invitation. God bless.
And
Great
to you,
to
my
be here.
listening friend, to my viewing friends, please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever.
Ever.
Yeah, good job. Okay, so we'll have the station leave, and then Dale, as always, you're just such a powerful, just such a powerful voice for the community that wants to walk away from this thing that we call insurance. It's enslavement.
Yes.
It's enslavement.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's enslavement. Is that a word? Did I say that word right?
That is a word. Yeah.
This is actual health insurance that replaces Blue Shield, Blue Cross, all these different companies.
It's not health insurance.
Okay.
I'll say that for you, Dale.
Sorry.
But it is an alternative means for meeting healthcare costs.
That's it.
Okay.
So
And-
it's a whole different methodology or mindset where we're engaged in community with one another, and based upon the goodwill of our members, one to the other, we pay each other's medical bills.
Yeah.
And we're doing that to the tune of $20 million a month right now, based upon the size of and participation of all of our members.
And not only that, tell her what the policy, or not the policy, being a member is per incident.
Yes. In other words, we have all agreed for a family, I'll just use those numbers, to be responsible for the first $1,500 in the course of a membership year. We pay that out of our pocket. And then for every incident that occurs after that in the course of the year, it's 100% up to $1 million. So if
Per
I have
incident.
a heart attack, I'd be responsible for the first $1,500.
That's
Then
it.
all the doctor bills and hospital stays and surgeries and medication associated with that incident, up to $1 million. You have a kidney stone the next day, another $1 million. Have a broken arm, another $1 million. And
Wow.
so we share in, literally, that's why we call it a health share. Our dollars literally help go to another member to share in their cost that month. And then those members are there to help pay our bills when and if they occur.
And does one have health care on top of that or not?
No, we've abandoned health insurance.
Holy crap, I didn't know about all this. So,
Yeah.
so that's really fascinating. And what does one pay for that?
Well, $199 if you're a single. For a couple, which I think you're enrolled as a couple. Is that right, Lillian?
No, I'm a single. So
You're single, so
yeah, because
$199.
my husband decided that he was going to keep his insurance through the company he works for.
Yeah, through
But it was going
employment.
to be like $450 to add me. But Tricia, I pay $199, and my non-shared amount, which is the equivalent of a deductible, and I'm put that what we know, the language that we've been indoctrinated is deductible. My non-shared amount, which is the deductible compared to insurance, is $500. After $500, Liberty Health Share covers everything, or my friends at Liberty Health Share.
Fellow members, that's
my
right.
fellow members.
Yeah.
And then
So
if you're a couple, how much is a couple for their non-shared?
it's $299 for a couple, or $449 for a family of 3 or more.
Yeah,
And
it's amazing.
that meets all of our healthcare costs that we share together as a community.
Tricia,
That's
and if I want to go to a holistic doctor, alternative healer, chiropractic, acupuncture, they cover.
They cover that?
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
right?
Because it's a community of members working with one another, supporting each other with healthcare costs, we make those decisions together. Every year we decide on some aspect of our sharing program, and 2 years ago, all of the members decided that holistic alternative methods of healing were really necessary and important to us, and we included that in our program.
But how could you sustain that if every person were going to acupuncture? That's more than $199 a month.
Well, number one is we're all health conscious, and so using those means of healing are based upon what our individual needs are. Number two, we do receive deep discounts in the marketplace. And because it's our money at stake, it just changes the mentality.
Yeah,
I'm consuming healthcare based upon those things that are needful and necessary, and just just not being excessive in the course of consuming healthcare.
Yeah. So we're not milking a system to go to the doctor more, or I mean, it makes me sick. I pay so much money for healthcare.
And how much do you use? How much do you use?
Nothing. I don't want to go to the hospital. I don't need to, by the grace of God, knock on wood, but I go to acupuncture and I pay out of pocket for holistic people. That's what I do.
That was what was happening to me. And so when I joined Liberty Health Share, and it's interesting, once you take your own, it's about responsibility, which is what the show is about, taking ownership.
Yes.
And that this is you're personally managing your own. When you're going to get an MRI, or if you need to get some blood work, you're going to go to a place where it's not the most expensive. You're going to go to the place that's affordable, that is good. And that's what Liberty Health Share encourages. And
well, what would they pay for an MRI? Like, how does that work? Do I pay out $1,500?
No. So you use your card and you go to places that accept Liberty Health Share. Here I am answering for you, Dale.
I apologize. I literally have another radio show to go to, so I'll need to excuse myself.
I'll explain.
Thank you. God bless.
Thank you, Dale. We'll see you next week, or
Bye-bye.
when you come back. I'm so grateful to Dale Billis. For those of you who want to learn more about Liberty Health Share, Liberty Health Share is 855-58-LIBERTY. That's 855-585-4237, or go to libertyhealthshare.org. Now, OMG, we're going to talk with Tricia Nelson. The book is Heal Your Hunger. And I want to do like an extended version and do the 7 C's. We're going to sail on the 7 C's of Heal Your Hunger. So go ahead. Let's start with connection and community.
So important to connect at the heart level. This, emotional eaters are starving. Okay. So we have a hole in our soul and we're starving and we're filling it with food, and food ain't doing it. So we need to connect at the heart level, and especially with people who are emotional eaters, so that we are filled. It literally nourishes us to connect with people at a deeper level and get that support, be able to talk about what it's like to be, craving the ooey gooey chewy foods, and really supporting each other in grabbing hold of the solution. Centeredness is the next step. And centeredness is so vital, because so much of the time we pop out of bed in the morning and go, running around, leading our lives, but we're on empty all the time, and we're filling up with snack foods and sugar to give us that quick energy. Whereas if we start the morning getting centered, getting still and quiet, meditation and prayer, and I do other things. I do spiritual readings. I do a little walk pray, where I walk and I put earbuds in my ear and I pray out loud to God. And this fills my cup, if you will. This fills up my tank. And then I have that to draw on throughout the day. So it's vital to get still and quiet and centered first thing in the morning. Journaling is a good way to do that too. Clean eating is the next one. And clean eating is really about having a way of eating, something I call 3-meal magic, which is 3 meals a day with nothing in between. This is going to put space between your meals so that you can actually feel your emotions, because if you're snacking all day long, you're numb. Like, you don't know what you're feeling. Whereas 3-meal magic gets you to be a little bit more acquainted with what's going on inside, and it also stops the snacking. Okay, so it's not a diet, it's really a way of eating that will really help you connect with yourself and with your emotions. The next one is communication, because people who are emotional eaters are stuffing their feelings. They're not saying what they really want to say. Okay. We're always afraid to speak up. We don't want anybody to be mad at us. We want to be liked. And this causes problems because we're eating our feelings. And so we have to learn how to communicate. And what I do in my book is I talk about 10 secrets to expressing yourself with confidence, because I know what it's like to be afraid to speak up, but we have to do it. And so I teach you how to do that. Consciousness. So important that we start raising our consciousness and realizing we're not islands in the world, that we are one with other people. And so much of the time, fear stands in the way of that. But as people do these steps, and as they're part of my community, my Heal Your Hunger community, they start waking up and they start feeling, wow, like there is love available. There are people who love me and support me. I'm not the worst person in the world and unlovable. And that raises our consciousness, it raises our vibration, and just good things start to happen. Causes, so important. We have to deal with the causes, and I have something called SOURCE. And I help people really get to the source of the problem.
I love that. I love the acronym. I'm a big acronym kind of girl.
Yeah, so important to really dig deeper. And I take people on this journey of the deeper work, because without dealing with the underlying causes, you're just dieting. Like you're just dieting and holding on for dear life, and it's always going to give in. You can't do it. You've got to go deeper so you no longer have the cravings. People always ask me, what do I do when I have cravings? Deal with the underlying emotions and you won't have cravings. Like the cravings come when we've got this stuff like bubbling up and we're trying to push it down. And the last thing is courage, Lillian, because it takes a lot of courage to face one's stuff, okay? You know, it's very easy to be seduced by diets and food plans and weighing and measuring and all these things. You know, it's like keep it on the surface, on the food level. And we do that because we don't want to dig deeper. But this is never going to fix us. Like we can't stop eating just at the physical level. We've got to do the emotional work, and it takes courage to do that. So don't do it alone. You know, be involved in the community so you can get that support, but definitely realize that you're many steps ahead of most people. If you're saying, okay, that's it, enough of the diets, I'm going to start going deeper, I'm going to heal emotional eating, then you're really going to get somewhere, you're going to get the success that you're looking for. But that does take courage.
You know, it's funny. It's like my sister from another mister. One of the things that you said that I have to hone in on is the fact that before I started my healing, my emotional healing, everything was good on the outside. And that was probably the time where I was more obsessed with my body, where I wanted it. I was concerned about the aging process, and I wanted to slow it down. I wanted to do all the things that I could do to slow the process of aging, because I think the underlying fear that we all have. And I always say, and I share this is not the first time I've shared it, but I'll share it with you, that even though my life looked like it was perfect, and for the most part, my life was great, I had a little hole in my soul. It was like a pinhole. Only I knew about it. And sometimes when I look into it, I felt like a fraud. If people knew about this, I thought people would think I was a fraud. And so what I ended up doing was going back, and I went to a retreat that nobody knew me. I didn't want it to be associated with my church, my community, or anything like that. But I knew that place was calling me. And I went like 5 hours away, drove there, and later went back to become a coach. And that's when I learned, you know, that's where I became certified as a life coach. So that hole in the soul, we know that we have a hole in our soul. We know.
No question. And
then this last thing I want to talk about is courage. There's a movie called We Bought a Zoo, or We Bought a, I think it was We Bought a Zoo. Yeah, remember that one?
Yeah, with Matt Damon.
Yes, I can't remember now who the actors are, but there was a line in that movie that said, you only need 20 seconds of courage to take the first step.
Oh,
20 seconds. Don't you have 20 seconds?
Yeah.
I have 20 seconds. I can do 20 seconds, but I can't do lifetime when I'm not ready for it.
Yeah.
I can do 20 seconds. And if we take it 20 seconds at a time, or a journey of, like a class, or, people say to me, but I'm going to be 50 by the time I ended my college education. So what? You're going to be 50 anyway. This way you'll have a degree.
Yep.
No
So
question. You touch upon a lot of things, and I want to encourage you, my listening friends, to take out your soul shovel, dig. You deserve it. You earned this right to be happy, and do whatever it takes. There's no pill that is out there that will substitute the work of your spirit. Yesterday, by the way, I had mentioned Dr. Lee Cowden. He said, we can spend hundreds of thousands trying to fix our body. But if you go to the emotional side of it, it's not as expensive. And then if you go deeper into the spiritual side of it, it's even cheaper. So once you do the spiritual side, it aligns your emotional side, and then your body just falls into place.
So true.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
So he goes around teaching doctors how to be integrative and alternative ways to heal. But Tricia, thank you so much for writing the book. Why don't you show the book again?
Yes, it's Heal Your Hunger, 7 Simple Steps to End Emotional Eating Now.
Very good. And then tell us about the website is healyourhunger.com. Yep. Tell us about your group.
So I have a program called 10 Weeks to Freedom from Emotional Eating. And this is a powerful journey that emotional eaters are on. There's a Heal Your Hunger community. So there's a Facebook group that people, a private group that people are part of, so they can support each other. We have weekly live calls, very supportive, but people are going through my 7 steps. And then there's some other work involved. So that's why it's 10 weeks to freedom. But we go through every single step, and people do a deep dive and really begin to eat differently, to deal with their emotions, to really just speak up and learn how to communicate and just feel better about themselves immediately. People say in their first module, they're already feeling better, more self-confident, lighter. It's just beautiful.
Great. I want to say that on whenyouneedafriend.com, I have a responsibility page. I'm really big on ownership and responsibility, no matter who has done what to you, or what you have done to others. And I believe that everything has a blessing. Even in the curse, we can see blessing. And even in our darkest moment, I really believe that if we face it responsibly, even if it's something that's very deep, that when we face it, that becomes our defining moment. So the 4 questions are: how did I create it? What are the gifts and lessons? What's going to be different? And how can I use this for the greater good? So in speaking to you and learning from your book and everything that you're doing, I just want to recap something but I want to share it so that when I say it doesn't offend somebody, because it could offend somebody. The word responsibility has no fault, no shame, no blame, no nothing, right? So how did you create it? You were born to the family you were born into. No fault, no different than 2 + 2 = 4. It's just fact. You were there. Gifts and lessons. Wow. Look at where you're at. Look at how you've gone from being abused victim to an empowered woman. Okay. I'm not going to add too much to that. You know what I'm talking about. 3, what's going to be different? I don't know. Do you have children?
I don't have children. My children are really, I mean, I have step grandchildren and great grandchildren.
But but the thing is, you understand abuse.
Yeah.
If you have to take abuse so that your grandchildren or your children don't have to take abuse, would you take it, or would you rather they have it?
Well, of course. I mean, I would always want to avert, take anything. I mean, I know how to deal with these things, so I would take it. Of
Exactly.
course.
So what a gift, that your children and grandchildren and their children may not have to deal with that in their life. And so what's going to be different is that you're going to, identify the signs. You've written a book, and that's the 4th step of taking responsibility, which is giving back into the world. And you are certainly doing that with Heal Your Hunger. So had you not been abused, you wouldn't know what it's like to be abused.
Oh my gosh.
And you couldn't help people that are abused.
No, and I don't regret it. I mean, I really don't, because I know what it takes to overcome it, and I know what it's like intimately, what it's like and what somebody's going through. And that's so valuable, because everything, all the work I do comes from my personal experience. And the more I can be in touch with it and heal from it, the more freely I can speak about it and be helpful and of service to other people.
But it took you removing shame.
Totally. Yeah.
In order for you to find freedom.
Totally. It's not got nothing, no mark on my soul. I'm a beautiful, loving, free woman today.
Yes, you are.
Nothing wrong with me. And I'm happy to share, the light that flows through me with other people on account of it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Tricia, for being a part of the Lillian McDermott Radio Show. I know you've made a difference, and I'm very grateful that we were able to share your story.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an amazing pleasure.
And to you, my viewers, I am so grateful to you for hanging on to the end. I look forward to our next conversation.